right, guys, how exciting is this? This man has never been on the program before, and I'm lucky enough to have him on the show here today. Fresh off a trip to Miami for UFC 314, he now joins me to talk about his exciting new future in the UFC featherweight division. What a time to be alive. Aaron Pico, welcome to Submission Radio, my friend. Welcome to the program for the first time.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and yeah, it was an exciting weekend. I was really happy to be in Miami, be there live for the fights. And it's one thing I've been to Miami before, but I was there for fight week, and you don't really get to enjoy much. So I was there, 3 days. So walk around the city, get a tour of the UFC and how everything operates. And I was excited. I was really, really happy. And man, they really got it down there. So I'm really happy to be there and hopefully fight soon.
Dude, that's great. And I'm excited because you got a chance to kind of, I don't know, like get the attention that you deserve, right? Like you go over there, everyone was so excited to have you there. You did that Q&A and people were kind of just like pumped to see you in there, and they're already putting you out there in the forefront. Like that must feel pretty good, right? Like going from the situation that you were in with the PFL where you couldn't even like get a fight locked in to the organization already pushing you without you even having a fight locked in yet.
Yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed meeting all the UFC staff, and like I said, they really have it down, and
the fans were excited, right? Like there were fans there.
The fans were excited. I was a little bit nervous because it's a new set of fans in the UFC. They're a little bit crazy, but in a good way. They love the sport. They follow it very closely, and the whole experience was just awesome. And like you said, I didn't fight for a whole year, so to feel those nerves and just like I said, do a dry run in the UFC. A big thing for me was after the fights, I waited. I really wanted to go step in the octagon because I've never done it before and just get a feel of everything. And I'm a details guy. I wanted just to see where the fighters walk out, where's the what's the cage feel like and the lights, and it was fun. It was a good experience and a lot of learning to do.
Did it feel the way that you thought it would feel when you got in there?
Yeah, I think this I've only had one trip here with the UFC, but it just felt right, and everything was just run so smoothly, and I felt like I belonged there. And now, like I said, the next step is to get a fight booked, and I think I'm gonna really thrive in the UFC. So I've been saying it. I have my work cut out for me, but it's really good.
How inspiring was it for you to be able to watch that Alex Volkanovski performance live? A guy that just broke all the records, was able to win the belt again, put on a show like that against Diego Lopes, a bunch of adversity, couldn't see out of one eye, apparently a broken hand early in the fight, just kept to the game plan and was able to get it done.
Yeah, it was really crazy. I mean, he proved me wrong, to be honest with you. I was saying before the fight, I thought Diego Lopes was going to win. You shouldn't. Alexander Volkanovski's not old, but in MMA years, I mean, he's getting on the older side. But he just proved that age is just a number, and he's getting better. So, and on the flip side, I got to see him live and study him as best as I can, and he's a very good fighter. And I look to fight him one day, and it would be an honor.
Yeah, Beneil Dariush, who I spoke to as well today, said watching Alex Volkanovski live, you see little details that you kind of miss on TV. Would you say that's accurate? Like, were you able to pick up a few things about him watching him live do his thing against Diego Lopes yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, he's just so good at mixing everything up, and his fakes to his kicks are very good. Just his striking is unbelievable, and when you watch it live, like you said, you can pick up on details, and he's just a veteran and a legend. And I watch him a lot actually, and try to do mimic him and take certain moves away from him. And yeah, like I said, he's very good.
Yeah, he's a real sort of icon down here in Australia. Let me ask you this, man. Diego Lopes, what did you think of the effort from him? Like, obviously, he came out there. Alex got him down early in the fight. It was kind of surprising, right? He was able to get a good spot and sort of do a bit of ground and pound. And then after that, Lopes is like, nah, we're not going to the ground. But man, he just kept coming forward. He just kept coming forward for the entire 5 rounds. And for a guy that's relatively new to the UFC and hasn't had that experience, he still showed something in this fight, right? In this performance against Alex Volkanovski.
Yeah, I think now that the fight is over with, he just showed that he's very, very tough. He has a great chin, but I didn't. I'll just be very blunt. I think he looked very sloppy, and yeah, I don't think it was his best performance. But what I took away from it, he's got a granite of a chin, and he just keeps coming forward.
Obviously, you're in the UFC, so you're going to be a contender soon. But in the meantime, people are talking about what's next for Alex, right? And do you think it should be Movsar next for Alex Volkanovski?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think honestly, I think Jean Silva. I mean, he's 5-0 in the UFC with 5 finishes. I wouldn't be surprised if he got the title shot. If I'm being completely honest, I think. But I don't know. That's just me. He put on a great performance. The crowd loved him, and he's starting to get a lot of fans. And I think he's very, very exciting. And Movsar is a great fighter, of course, but I think to the fans, it's very, very boring. So, in my opinion, what I think is going to happen, I think Jean Silva is going to get a title shot next. And I think that would be a great fight for Alexander Volkanovski. I think the fans would be excited. It would be a tough challenge for Alex. But I don't know. That's just me. I'm not a matchmaker.
Well, dude, that's an interesting perspective. I didn't even think of that one, but that would be a fun fight. I think I was going to say, before I talk about what's next for you and stuff, what happened with that Movsar fight? Because I saw it was reported that you were supposed to fight him, and you were talking to Mike Heck, right? And you told him that wasn't going to happen. What happened? Was that actually offered to you? What was the deal with that fight? Because people thought you were going to fight him next.
Yeah, the fight was offered to me and Movsar. And to his credit, he took the fight, and it was on from what I was told. But I think as a few days went on, him and his team really reevaluated it and understood the risk that was involved in it, fighting Aaron Pico, and he's number 4, so he had everything to lose. I had everything to gain, and I wasn't coming in the fight to lose, so I took that fight without hesitation, just simply because I feel I'm a lot better than him. His biggest asset in the fighting is his wrestling, and that's mine. But I think I'm a lot better wrestler than him. So, yeah, as a few days went on, they called me and said the fight wasn't going to happen. He was going to wait for Saturday, which was the Miami card, and I think after Saturday, I don't think that he's going to get the title shot next. If I'm just being honest.
How do you think a fight between him and Alex Volkanovski would have played out?
Man, that's a tough one. I think Alex would beat him. I think the striking would eat him up. Of course, you take Alex down, but he'd be able to get up, and I think he would get him tired. But I don't know. This is fighting. You can say one thing. For example, this weekend I thought Lopes was going to get the job done, and my prediction was just completely off the chart. So I don't know.
Yeah. This weekend I thought Michael Chandler was going to beat Paddy Pimblett. Look at me, I look like a complete idiot now. Pimblett looking amazing. Hey, let me just quickly ask you, Alex, this version of Alex Volkanovski that we saw yesterday, how do you think he would do in a rematch against Ilia Topuria? Do you think it would be much of the same, or do you see this version of Alex Volkanovski actually beating Ilia Topuria if they had a rematch?
I'll give my humble opinion. I think Ilia Topuria will still beat Alexander. From an outsider looking in, I feel that Alexander's still not 100%. I think he'd be a little bit hesitant on the feet. I think he's open for shots that Ilia throws, and especially that left hook. So I think Ilia would still win. I think there would be some still hesitation from Alexander, and Ilia would just I think would let the hands go, and I think he would catch him again.
I got to get your thoughts on this Yair Rodriguez performance over Pitbull, man. So many fights, big pivotal fights for your division that you got to watch live. What was your reaction of the Yair, man? Physically looked different, right? Like he looked a little bit more muscular and better shape. Man, he was able to put on a performance against Pitbull. What was your reaction to him being able to beat Pitbull in this fight? Did you think he was going to get it done the way that he did it?
Yeah, I was right on that fight. I thought, Ilia, I thought Yair was going to win just because looking at the reach and how Pitbull fights, I didn't think he was going to be able to. I believe that the kicks were going to scare Pitbull, and they did. But he's a legend, and he did a lot of great things in Bellator. But I think he came to the UFC a little bit too late.
We were sort of talking about this a little bit on MMA fighting and on what some of the shows that we did leading into it. Do you think that Pitbull would have become a champion in the UFC if he came there during his prime? Do you think he would have reached championship level status? It's a tough one, right?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely had he has the skills to do it. I don't know, like they always say timing is everything, and I think he missed his time. So that for me, that's why I was so adamant about wanting to come to the UFC, and it would always keep me up at night, like when is the right time, because I don't want to be 30, in my late 30s going to the UFC, and I think it's a perfect time for me to step in the octagon, and I'm just so thankful that everything worked out the way that it was supposed to, because I'm getting close to 30. It's kind of crazy. So I said, I need to go soon. So it all worked out.
So let's talk about you, man. There's so many great fights to be made for your debut. First things first, like when do you want to make this first fight happen in the UFC? Do you have a timeline? Like ideally, when do you want to be in there?
Ideally, it would be, June, July. I mean, I was ready to step in the cage next month. But obviously that didn't happen. But as soon as possible, I mean, it's going on over a year I haven't fought. So I'm like, come on, let's get something going. But the UFC, from what I've told, are going to talk tomorrow and get something lined up. So I'm hoping June or July.
Are you picky about who you fight, or is it a situation of, hey, just give me someone? I've been out, I haven't fought in ages. Let me just get out there and show people what I can do. Or are you like, all right, I really want to sort of cement. Are there a couple of names that you spoke to the UFC about where you're like, I'd love these names if we could get them for this first fight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a position where I'm the new guy in the organization, and I've never really had the luxury of picking who I fight. As you can see, early on in my career, I fought guys that had way more experience than me. I mean, I had 0 fights and fighting guys that had 15, and I'd have a couple and they'd have like 20, 25. So like I said, I'm the new guy in the organization, and I'm in no position to tell the UFC who I fight. Eventually that will change when you become, I feel like it's never going to really change. When you're in the UFC, you fight who they tell you to fight. And as soon as you start being matchmaker, I think it doesn't really look good for you.
All right, well, let's go through a couple of names here. First of all, I think Yair and Lopes are probably going to fight each other in Mexico. What do you think? That's probably a lock, right? Because these guys have this feud and they're going to Mexico for the big event. So those guys are probably out of the picture for you for this first fight, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense for them to fight, given what happened at the press conference. The fans are really excited. And that's ultimately why we do it. When the fans want to fight, the UFC needs to make it happen. So that definitely makes a lot of sense for the card in Mexico in September.
So, okay, so if it's not Movsar, what about someone like a Brian Ortega? Is that someone that you're sort of keeping an eye open for to potentially make this debut in the UFC against? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You versus him, an exciting fight. He's someone that's been in the division for a really long time. It's been up the top a number of times. What would you think of Brian Ortega being your first fight in the UFC?
I think it would be a great fight. I've been saying that in a lot of interviews. And one, he has a big name. He's a very good fighter. He's highly, he's ranked in the top 10. So that's a really good fight for me, because people have been asking me, who do you think you're going to fight? Because you know, and I don't really have, the only name that I had was Movsar. So like I said before, Movsar fought Aljamain last. So I said, okay, let's fight Aljamain, and he was supposed to fight Brian Ortega. So I said, if Brian's ready, then let's fight. So yeah, those two guys I think would be a great debut. Not an easy one, but I think the fans would be excited. I would be very excited, and yeah, we're just gonna have to see how this plays out after Tuesday.
Yeah, man, Aljamain, that could be a great fight too. I'd love to see that. What about, you mentioned him before about potentially getting a title shot, but what would you think about Jean Silva, man? He's coming off this big win in Miami. Obviously, he doesn't have the ranking status of Brian Ortega, for example, or maybe, you know, the name value of an Aljamain Sterling, but it kind of feels like he's the hottest name in the division. Like you mentioned, like you see him potentially even getting a title shot. If he doesn't get this title shot, what would you think about him being your first fight? I mean, how exciting would that be for the fans to see you guys mix it up together?
Yeah, it would be a crazy fight. It would be, I mean, he's obviously, you see what he's been doing. He's 5-0 with 5 finishes. So yeah, bring them all. I mean, honestly, like I've been saying, let's, you know, we're in the UFC to fight the best fights possible. So if the UFC believes that's the best fight, then I'll be ready. I'll be ready to go, and I believe I can beat him.
Yeah, heaps of fights here. Just looking at the rankings, Lorne Murphy could be a good fight. Arnold Allen, all sorts of big fights in the division. I know you've spoken to Luke Thomas about a potential fight, you know, with Ilia Topuria and what that would look like down the track. What do you think is going to be next for Ilia Topuria? Because Paddy Pimblett just got that big win over Michael Chandler. Some people are saying you do Pimblett and Topuria next. Other people are saying you do Paddy Pimblett and Armin next. You there? Sorry, man.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'm there.
Yeah.
You know, after watching Paddy fight, last night, I want to see Paddy versus Ilia more than I want to see Topuria versus Islam now.
Wow, why? What is it about that performance?
I don't know. I think Paddy's style is, I mean, his character, and it was just fun. And then they have some bad blood. I think there was some things that happened in the hotel, I don't know, maybe a year ago. And I think that would be a fun fight. I think Paddy would that would be a lot of fans would love to see that. They would be more excited. I think they'd be more excited for Paddy versus Ilia than Ilia versus than Islam. I don't know. I don't know if that fight's gonna happen, but I know if he wants to come up to 155, what better fight to make Paddy versus Ilia?
All right, guys, I just want to take a quick moment to talk about our sponsors, MANSCAPED and SAILY, and a big thank you to them for making it possible for me to bring this show to you. The Beard and Balls bundle from MANSCAPED is the place to go. It's your all-in-one grooming solution to keep you polished from head to toe, more precisely from beard to balls. It's got all-in-one grooming. The Beard Hedger is your go-to for precise beard trimming, and the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra takes care of everything below the waist, because confidence starts with the right tools. You got customizable trimming, a dual blade system on the Lawnmower 5.0, which features interchangeable foil and trimmer blades, ensuring a smooth and comfortable experience, even in the sensitive areas. And what about this? The long-lasting power. Enjoy up to 60 minutes of runtime with a Beard Hedger and 75 minutes with a Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. And by the way, it is risk-free. That's right, guys. Manscaped is now risk-free. Get it on Manscaped's 30-day money-back guarantee. You can try the Beard and Balls bundle today, completely risk-free, with Manscaped's 30-day money-back guarantee. And that's not all. If you want to support this program, use the code word submission. You get 20% off and free shipping right now. That's 20% off and free shipping right now across the whole Manscaped website. I just want to thank Manscaped again for making it possible for me to bring this interview to you. Go to manscaped.com right now, get the Beard and Balls bundle, and get 20% off and free shipping right now with the code word submission. And for anybody looking to travel out there is no better eSIM than SAILY. SAILY has you sorted with its 115 virtual locations, super fast speeds, security features, and what about the fact that you guys get an ad blocker in the app as well, so you don't have to watch annoying ads and use up your data when you watch stuff all over your phone. What about the fact that you don't need to switch out your eSIMs because you can just use the one SAILY profile for everywhere you go? No more lining up at airports, no more having to take out SIM cards from your phone, putting new SIM cards in. SAILY gives you all of the options to get as much data for as long as you need. You got weekly plans, you got plans that last half a year. And SAILY always lets you know when you're about to run out of data. It gives you a little notification when you used up 80% of your plan, so you'll always have time to top up. No more sneaky roaming fees. No more being stressed out about, oh, I just bought this plan in this weird country that's going to last me for 3 months, but I only need it for 3 days. SAILY has you sorted. And if you're a Submission Radio fan, you can click on saily.com/submission now and get 15% off your first purchase. Or go to saily.com and use the code word submission. Support this show and have the best traveling experience thanks to SAILY. It's a quick reminder while you're watching this interview, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Only 48% of you guys are subscribed. The ones that watch regularly, that really, really helps. And please click the little bell icon so you get notified when the shows come out. That's going to really help me bring out more content to you, more interviews, and keep the channel around for longer. And now, back to the program. Who do you think wins that fight? That's a fun fight. Who do you think wins?
Yeah, that is a fight where I don't really know what would happen.
I mean, Paddy's there to be hit still, right? Like, he moves forward, and Ilia's got that power, but then his chin is like pretty impressive, right? Like, he's been able to take shots. Chantley, the ground and pound looked good. His grappling's good, but then Ilia's got good grappling. Man.
Yeah, that's a fight I would just sit on my couch and order a bunch of food and just be a fan and just enjoy. But it was something special to watch Paddy walk out and the fans go crazy. And at the end of the day, I'm a fan of this sport, so to be there as a spectator during that, it was fun. So whoever he fights next, I'll definitely be watching. But that's a fight that I really, really want to watch. I don't know. Who do you think would win that fight?
I think Ilia Topuria wins that fight. But, you know, I said that Paddy Pimblett was going to lose against Michael Chandler. I think that how the fight plays out is, you know, there's a couple of exchanges and then Topuria is able to get his distance down and land a couple of shots on Paddy. And even though Paddy's chin is pretty strong, you know, it's out there and he's got his hands down a lot when he moves forward. You'd think that's a dangerous recipe against someone with the power in the boxing of Ilia Topuria, right? But the only question would be is how does that power translate to 155? According to people who've sparred with him, apparently he's still pretty strong, right up there when he, I don't know. But listen, like you said, it could happen a million different ways. Do you think that Topuria comes back down to 145 and you ever get a shot of fighting him?
It all depends on how he does at 155. I mean, if he wins, I think he's going to stay at 155 because why cut the extra weight? And if you're winning at 155, enjoy camp. You don't really have to worry about cutting weight. And but then again, if there's a fight at 145 that the fans really want to see and it has potential to make a lot of money talks. So I think he'd go down. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I have to do my job, knock people out and win fights. And who knows? This sport is so crazy. There's so many matchups that you never think would happen, and they eventually do. So right now, I'm focused on my job, and my job's at 145. Ilia's up at 155 doing his thing. Maybe in the future we meet up, but as of right now, I don't see that fight happening anytime soon. So I can't speak too far into the future. But of course, I'd love to share the octagon with him, and I think it would be one of the best fights MMA has ever seen. One of us is definitely going to sleep that night. I can assure you that. It's not going to be a fight where it's going to be boring. We both have a lot of power in our hands. And like I said, somebody's going to sleep or to the hospital, that's for sure.
Dude, yeah, for people that haven't seen some of the highlight reels, knockouts that you've had, they're just Unbelievable, man. Some of the most impressive and brutal in the sport. There's some great ones actually on YouTube that I encourage everybody out there who hasn't seen you, you know, in Bellator do your thing to check out. It's like an explosion. It's like, you know, like you just, it's out of nowhere. And you, dude, you and Ilia, that would be an amazing fight down the line. The way you guys match up, that's impossible to break down. But for now, man, as we wrap up, a lot of people watching this interview are excited. What's your message to all the, you know, maybe some new fans that you're going to be sort of reaching now? What's your message to everyone now that you're officially locked into this UFC debut and now we're waiting for an opponent? What's your message to everyone out there?
Yeah, my message to them is just, you guys are in for a real treat. And like you mentioned before, go on YouTube and look at my highlights. And I'm always exciting. Win, lose, or draw, there's always something exciting that happens in Aaron Pico's fights. So I'm just really happy to be a part of the UFC, around more people, more fans. And the UFC fans, I'm new, but they'll know soon who I am. And like I said, I got to go out and do my job. And I look forward to putting on the best performances I can.
Well, congratulations, Aaron. I'm so happy for you. You're in a position where you're going to get the fights that you deserve. You're going to get the spotlight that you deserve. And you're going to get that big debut that you deserve come, you know, June or July, whenever that happens. Thank you so much for joining me for the first time on Submission Radio. First of many times, I hope. And can't wait to see you in action, man. Thanks so much for joining me here on the podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.